Alright, welcome back to a new video. In this video I'm gonna give my top 10 ranking, of the strongest bladers in Metal Fusion. Next video gonna be about Metal Masters and Metal Fury. I cannot combine all of them in one video because explained in I was live streaming, right? Like this morning, but criticizing other rankings made by other YouTubers. They just assert, they don't give any reasons, no nothing. And they tend to mix between seasons. You cannot mix between seasons because there are some characters who were stronger in some seasons but weaker in others. Mixing between seasons is it's like mixing between chess players from different eras. You cannot give an objective, right? Like an objective strongest, right? Based on different, from different areas, because it's not the same. The environment is not the same. The players are not the same, right? So the opportunity is not the same, right? Same with seasons, right? We don't know if there is what can I say? Some characters appeared in some previous seasons, like in Fusion, but didn't appear in Masters. We don't know if there is any progress made by these characters. So if we say that a particular character in Masters or Fury is stronger than the character in Fusion, this is assuming that the character in Fusion did not develop, which is not always the case. We cannot make it would be a speculation. If the character doesn't make an appearance afterwards, then it would be a speculation to say that he didn't progress, right? He stayed at the same power level. So that's why it's not it can't be we cannot make a general a general ranking, it would be far more subjective if we make a general ranking than it would be if we make a ranking based on seasons. And to clarify one thing, I'm going to give reasons to why I'm ranking a blader in a particular spot. But what I want to say though, I totally forgot, but anyways, I'm gonna try to give reasons to explain why that is. You'll notice something, when we tend to claim upon the ranking, it becomes more and more subjective due to insufficient evidence. It's the enemy preventing you from making an objective ranking. It's not that we cannot analyze, You'll see that the subjectivity tends to appear more and more, as we claim in the ranking. But the first rankings are usually objective, right? I'm gonna try to give evidence, try to avoid speculation as much as possible. Let's get into it. The first blader. We're gonna start from number 1 to number 10. Anyone who claims that anyone who makes a list of top 20 or top 15 is usually subjective, highly subjective. From top 10 to top 20, from number 10 to number 20. Okay, let's or even from number 10 to number 15. You also tend to what can I say? Tend to find some subjectivity even in the higher rankings from 5 to 10. There are sometimes some subjectivity, it's hard to know, for sure, right? So the accuracy drops in a sense. But we'll try to be as accurate as possible. Alright, let's start. I'll start with number 1 to number 10 because that would be easier. In Beyblade Metal Fusion, number one would be Jenga. Now why? You might ask why. Well, it's pretty straightforward. He defeated Lightning El Drago, which was undefeated until the very end. He won Battle Bladers. Jenga won Battle Bladers. The fact that this Bey was able to handle all these friends' power plus his power is already astonishing. Right? Between him and El Drago, right? It came to they both had so much power, but El Drago was still stronger. right? What was the decisive factor was the Blader spirit. This communicates to us something, that in Beyblade, when the power level is about equal, right? Then the Blader spirit, or the opponent is slightly stronger, then the Blader spirit is decisive. This is the case with, like with Jenga. I mean, Jenga's Blader spirit is something different. I mean, Kiyoya also has a Blader spirit, but it's not nearly as powerful as Jenga's Blader spirit. And Jenga can take all of his power strength, whereas Kiyoya cannot do that. So he is number one. He won Battle Bladers, he defeated Lightning El Drago, right? Some people might argue that he's number one because he's the main character. That's usually the case in most of his enemies, but but it can sometimes not be the case. But as with Metal Fusion, there is evidence, straightforward evidence. He won Battle Bladers, he defeated Lightning El Drago, which was undefeated until the final battle. Nobody could stop El Drago except Jenga. That proves that he's number one. He's number one blader in Japan. He's the strongest. It's very straightforward. Number two would be Ryuga, of course, because he made it to the final. He was undefeated. He was unstoppable. No one could stop him except Jenga. He completely obliterated everyone who stood in his way. He took the power of some Dark Nebula Bladers. He took the power of... he sent to the hospital every blader from the WBBA that he battled. Kiyoya, Tsubasa, and Hikaru. So he's definitely number two, He was very close from Jenga. Jenga barely won, so it makes sense to place him number two. Number three would be Kiyoya. Number three would be Kiyoya because he put up a very close fight. He's generally seen as one of Jenga's greatest rivals, right? He put up a very close fight with Ryuga. It was very close. Like he pushed El Drago to take control of Ryuga. No one else could do it. It was very close. Kiyoya put up a very good fight. Like they clashed with everything that they have. Kiyoya gave it everything he has. No one could put up a great fight against Ryuga other than Kiyoya. And Kiyoya was generally very close to Jenga's level throughout the series. I mean, the fact that he is also very close to Ryuga shows that he is number three. Number four would be Reggie. Why? Because Doji said that he is a Dark Nebula's number two, Bladers, true number two. That's what they said to you. It means that he is after, the only one to use a dark move other than Ryuga, which implies that he is number two after Ryuga. Because he said the Dark Nebula, number two of Dark Nebula. Doji is within the Dark Nebula. Therefore, he is number two. He is stronger than Doji, and he is stronger than you, as we've seen in the battle between them, right? He's far stronger than you, so it's only reasonable to place him number four. Why is Phoenix not number four, or Doji? Okay, Reggie made it to the semi-finals, right? That only speaks a ton, but why is there no Phoenix? As I said, it's not Doji because he is number two, therefore he is stronger than Doji. Why is it not Phoenix? Phoenix barely won against Doji, right? It was very close. The Blader spirit was the decisive factor, just like between Jenga and Ryuga. So the difference is very little, between Doji and Phoenix. So it only makes sense to place Reggie above Phoenix. I mean, think about it. Phoenix and Doji were very close in power. Reggie is stronger than Doji. Right? Reggie made it to the semi-finals. He's the only one to use a dark move other than Ryuga, right? Therefore, I think he's stronger than Phoenix. It could be a very slight difference, but It could be a very slight difference, but still, I think he's stronger than Phoenix. I mean, there is no direct battle to prove, but since like Doji, as I said, is weaker than Reggie, Phoenix is is slightly stronger than Doji, very little difference. Then we can say that Reggie is stronger than Phoenix. That's debatable, but I think this is more reasonable than saying that Phoenix is stronger than Doji. Because to imply that Reggie is within like the power, in this is between Doji and Phoenix, in power. This is like it's hard to assert that because the difference between Doji and Phoenix is so little that he can't be between them. It's only reasonable to assume that he is slightly above them. But why he is not as strong as Kyoya? The reason being that he put up, like Jinga didn't even, he said to him that he didn't even use his full power against him. Yes, he's strong. Jinga admitted that. He said, but the great thing about this is that I'm not even using my full power. Right? Kyoya was very strong by the end, Kyoya was very close to Ryuga, right? Now keep in mind, this ranking is based on the end. It's based on the end of the series. I mean, it depends. Like, if you rank from the beginning, if you rank from the middle, based on the middle of the series, and it's not the same. We rank based on the end because by the end, we make sure that every blader have reached their peaks. And usually, like, the main character doesn't reach his peak in power until the very end. So it's only fair to rank based on the very end. Now, based on the very end, Kyoya was very strong, right? He was very close to Ryuga's level. Ryuga was very, very close to Jinga. So it only makes sense that Kyoya is closer to Jinga and then Reggie is closer to Jinga because, like, the difference between like Reggie and Jinga was slightly big. Jinga wasn't even using his full power, and he was able to beat him. I mean, Reggie is very strong, but still, like, you get the point. This is why he's number 4. Number 5 would be Phoenix. Why? Because he easily defeated Tsubasa. There was no rematch before, after between them. He proved that he is superior than Tsubasa. He defeated Doji, by a very little. But still, like, he only lost to Jinga. So it's only reasonable to say that he is number 5. I mean, you cannot be like stronger than him because you tied with Tsubasa. Tsubasa wasn't using his full strength, that's what he said. So he cannot be as strong, right? Doji was able to cage you, right? You couldn't offer no resistance, so we cannot say that you is stronger than Doji. He would have been able to defend himself from Doji if he was stronger, right? So it's only fair to assume that Phoenix, Phoenix saved you, right? So Phoenix is superior than you, is stronger than you by the very end. So he's number 5. Number 6 would be Doji because he was very, very close from Phoenix level. It was the Blader Spirit, it was the decisive factor. So we could say that Doji was the, number 6. I mean, between Tsubasa and Phoenix, there was a big difference in power, as you saw between their battles. Even though that was not by the very, very end, that battle didn't take place before the very, very end. It was like slightly before Battle Bladers, right? I think my conclusion is reasonable. I don't know if you agree, but, the difference between Phoenix and Tsubasa as shown in the anime is big, right? He completely obliterated Tsubasa with one attack. He defeated him, Tsubasa attacked him, then he sent Tsubasa flying. So it's only reasonable to assume that, to say that Tsubasa, Doji is number 6, Tsubasa is number 7. Why he is stronger than you? Because even though they tied, Tsubasa said he wasn't using his full strength. He was not using his full strength. Also because he held his ground against Ryuga. He actually stopped Ryuga's dark move, which was no one else could do that before. Right? Not only that, but you struggled against Reggie. He struggled against Reggie using his full power. But he didn't struggle against, Tsubasa put up a great fight against Ryuga. who's stronger than Reggie, than you did against Reggie. So it's only reasonable to assume that, I mean, based on everything that I said before, based on that, on the fact that he wasn't using his full power if we took his words when he battled you, and based on the fact that he put up a greater fight against Ryuga than you did against Reggie, then we can say that Tsubasa is stronger than you. Number 8 would be you, because he defeated Jinga, right? He defeated Kiyoya. He won survival battles. He was the strongest, arguably the strongest, by that time after Ryuga and Doji when he joined the Dark Nebula. So he did these things which others couldn't do, right? These feats. Not only that, but he tied against Tsubasa. So this is also another reason. You know? So he has to be number 8. Number 9 would be Benkei. Number 9 would be Benkei. Now this is tricky. It's between Benkei and Kenta. How do we know? Benkei put up a very great fight against Kiyoya in Battle Bladers, whereas Kenta put up a very great fight against Reggie. But the Reggie that fought against you is not the same one that fought against Kenta. People don't understand this. The one that fought against Kenta wasn't using his full power. He was using he was in defense, like Poison Serpent was in defense mode. Whereas the one that fought against you was like a Poison Serpent at full strength. Even Reggie said it. He was on attack mode. So we can't really compare, you know. You is stronger than Kenta because, you know, like based on their past matches, right? I mean, in survival battles. And the fact that he tied Tsubasa. I mean, Kenta couldn't tie against Tsubasa. He battled Tsubasa. He was nowhere. He battled Tsubasa multiple times, right? Two times or something. He was nowhere near. He was nowhere near the level of Tsubasa. Whereas you was at about the level of Tsubasa. You put up a great fight against Jinga. Kenta could never put a great fight against Jinga. So it only makes sense that you is stronger than Kenta. Benkei is number 9 because now we have to go, there is no direct fight. I mean, they appear to be very even, you know, by the series. But there was no direct evidence to suggest that anyone is superior than the other. Therefore, we have to go to the next season, Masters, at the beginning, which reflects the power scale by the end of Metal Fusion, you know, the beginning of Metal Masters. If you go at the very beginning, these team selection matches for Team Japan, when they made these team selection matches, you know, based on the ranking, Benkei was number 5, Kenta was number 6. If you notice, Tsubasa, Kiyoya, Tsubasa, and you were in ranking before these guys. So it suggests that they were really stronger by the end of Fusion. I mean, the fact that Benkei was slightly below Kenta suggests, I mean, Ryutaro and all these guys from Dark Nebula, you know, were at a way higher ranking. So it suggests that they are weaker, you know. I mean, these guys both made it to the quarterfinals, right? They appeared through the series to be very even, except at the beginning. Benkei was stronger, you know. Well, throughout the series afterwards, they appeared to be very even, at about an even level. I mean, so if we go to the selection match, team selection matches, Benkei is number 5, Kenta is number 6. Therefore, I think it's reasonable to assume that number 9 is Benkei and number 10 is Kenta, based on on their performances in Metal Fusion and based on these rankings from team selection matches, from the beginning of Metal Masters, which reflect the power scale at the end of Metal Fusion. Benkei number 9, Kenta number 10. I don't know if you'll agree with these rankings, but this is my personal rankings for the top 10 strongest bladers in Metal Fusion by the end of the series. Anyways, that's what I'm gonna say. Give reason to each, explained why I placed bladers at the ranking that I placed them. Anyways, that's it, man. I'm out. Peace.